Welcome back to Countdown to the Championship alongside Mark Freeman. I'm Dave Griffiths. And Mark, we've covered these teams throughout the year. We've interviewed Florida State, Auburn throughout the season, but there are some guys who cover college football even at a more grandiose scale, and they know, I guess, top to bottom, the best things, the best parts about college football, and it'd be remiss of us not to hear from them in the show.
Yeah, and they certainly have valid points, and there's a big reason why we talked to them. We're talking about Desmond Howard and Kirk Herbstreit. Got a chance to sit down or really stand up and talk with Desmond Howard one-on-one, and here's how he breaks down the matchup. Well, here with Desmond Howard. Desmond, you look at the matchup between these two teams. How do they match up against each other on both sides of the ball?
Wow, man, I think that, I think it's an interesting matchup. Obviously, you have two different styles on offense. You have Jameis Winston, who has just such a bunch of weapons at his disposal. I mean, obviously, 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs, and a tight end, too. Who are all just phenomenal, and you know they like to spread you out. They can run, they can throw it, and they can just do a lot of different things. Where it seems as though, you know, Auburn seems a little more one-dimensional, obviously with their running game. But there's so many dimensions to that one dimension that they're very effective. And to be honest with you, as great as Florida State has been throughout the season, Auburn, I think, finished the season as the hottest team in college football.
Does a team, you know, the word destiny has been thrown out with Auburn. Do you believe that is a factor with this team at all?
Well, is it a factor how they got here? Yeah. I mean, that's how they got here. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you have some plays that you don't see every day. You know, the tip pass against Georgia that's just ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous on so many levels, but it fell into the receiver's hands and he scored. And obviously the way that Nick Saban and Alabama, they fought for that 1 second left on the clock so they can get an opportunity to try to kick that field goal, and it backfired on them. So obviously there are a lot of things that contribute to them being here that was not completely in their hands, but they took advantage of the opportunities that were there, which is, in my opinion, what very good teams do. And so I think, yeah, so that's part of it. Some coaches will tell you at times it's better to be luckier than great, you know. So we'll see.
Lastly, with Florida State, there have been so many blowout games with them. If it's close, do you find that as a concern?
You know, I don't think it would be a major concern, but you never know, since there's so much pressure on them in this game. You know, as the #1 team in the country, coming to this game, and the expectations are already so high that you never know that if things are kind of close late, will they tighten up? I mean, it's like uncharted waters for them. So you're right. You never know how they will respond. When you look at them on the surface, you think that they'll be okay, but you never really know until you put someone in that situation.
Appreciate the time, Desmond.
Anytime.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Though Florida State lost 11 players to last year's NFL draft, ESPN college football analyst Kirk Herbstreit says it's the players who returned to school who've made a huge difference for the Noles this year.
Last year, you know, they were missing on offense. They had a great defense, but they just weren't clicking on offense. Now they have that, and everybody wants to point to Jameis Winston, but he's got 4 offensive linemen that have returned. He's got 3 dynamic backs. He's got a tight end that's going to be in the NFL, and 3 outstanding wide receivers. So I think it's really come together collectively, and I think it's that vision and that blueprint that Jimbo learned from the SEC.
Though Florida State enters tonight's national championship allowing less than 11 points per game, Herbstreit is keeping alive the possibility of a shootout.
I think there's a chance for it to be points. You know, I think that Auburn has an offense that goes up tempo. They have an offense that's difficult to prepare for, even with 30 days to go. And I think they've got to hope that their tempo is kind of the X factor, the equalizer in this game. And then on the other side, you got a Florida State offense that, because they're so balanced, again, everybody wants to Jameis in the passing game, but they want to run the ball first and then get their passing game going. And because of that, it'll be a handful for Auburn to slow down.
If Auburn cannot slow down the Noles and FSU wins their 3rd title in school history, Herbstreit puts this year's team in elite company.
They're setting the table up for that debate about one of the greatest teams ever. I mean, look what they did in the ACC. I mean, they dominated everybody, including Clemson, who beat Ohio State last night. So I think they're setting themselves up for and if they win the game in a definitive way, they're setting themselves up for that kind of discussion.
As that discussion is perhaps on the horizon, another discussion comes to an end. This year will be the final year of the BCS. No more arguing which 2 teams are in the title game. Next year, college football begins a 4-team playoff.
I will always remember the BCS era with fondness. The fact that it brought the ACC and the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and the SEC and everybody else in between all together. We were all in the same kind of pool, as opposed to before. The Big Ten and the Pac-12 were kind of on the outside. So everybody was together. You as an SEC fan cared about what's Oregon doing out west, or as a fan out west, you cared about what Ohio State might be doing because you're watching those BCS standings and those computer ratings. So it hasn't always been perfect. We haven't always gotten the game that maybe we should have. But for the most part, I'll always remember this era of the BCS, that it's been great for the sport, and I'm looking forward to the 14 playoff.
So Kirk Herbstreit says he will miss a bit about the BCS. How about you, Mark?
Well, it's hard to miss or not miss, the debate that goes on for whether a team gets in or not. And there's a big question, well, if there's a 14 playoff, that's way too much football in a season, and I don't think that's true at all. You have all the other levels in college football do a playoff format. This is the one that doesn't because there's a lot of more money involved. So really interesting.
If there's a debate you're looking for, we'll certainly have a debate between number 4 and number 5. Countdown to a championship. We'll be right back.